Hello everybody, I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and I know maybe people think that, hey, we saw Duffy plenty of times in our channel at this point in time, because today I'm going to be doing a remake playthrough of, if you guys can tell from the title, and that will have to be Marvel's Balance Challenge. And this game was actually the sequel to Core Ripper from 2007, and this game was released in 2009. And the reason why I say that is because, well, first thing I'd like to mention is that I recently did done this before, back in 2013, but this playthrough, the old version of that playthrough was somehow removed because, much like the original game, the quality itself looks pretty horrendous, and plus my commentary, it's a bit alright. Like I did mention about the Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed on the 3DS is about to come out during that year. And then I decided to go ahead and do this playthrough again, but this time on this lovely, gorgeous HD, or in this case, a little capture card device. So, yeah, the reason why I say this is very similar to Core Ripper is that, as you can see, the main objective of this game is by basically getting those orange gems, and then there's also some green crystals along the way, and then you do have some different control schemes you can use when you're trying to start the game up. Here's the Wii mode vertically, much like the original game, and there's also the second option, which was the horizontal position for your Wii remote that you can use, so that you can actually tilt it from sideways, just like how it does it from Mario Party 9's Piddle Tilter, or Piddle Platter, rather. So, yeah, I decided to actually go ahead and say right now I'm going to erase my second file, because even then I did done this before back in 2013, but the quality itself looks pretty bad. Like, you know, they use the rubbish camera recording, and plus not to mention that, well, everything else is pretty blur. Or, in this case, meh. So anyways, so let's get this started here while selecting the file selection screen. And I'll type in my name, which was Duffy Duck, because that's why I'm usually going to be doing this playthrough. But even then, that I seem to doing pretty good at this, as far as I know. And yes, this typing board dashboard seems to remind me of related to Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, and as well as London 2012 Olympic Games as a result as well. So yeah, and as you can see, you can select these different icons. I think I might go for this robot here because I feel like why not. And so yeah, so let's get this started here. So let's go ahead and load this file up. So, you have like 3 different modes for your disposal, as you can see. Here we have the easy mode, the normal mode, and the Wii Balance Board mode. Now, as you can see, we have these little different items that you can see for those icons over there. Now, I decided to go ahead and toggle through just one mode, and that will have to be normal mode. Just because not only just it brings back the green crystals from the first game, but also I feel like the challenges should be good to go from that part. And yeah, you can actually use the Wii Balance Board mode once you actually got with the Wii Fit, as far as when you actually got with it though. So I'm probably not going to tackle him through with the Wii Balance Board itself, because all you do here is just basically just use that as an extra control scheme of mine. It also does that for Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games on the Nintendo Wii, and as well as Super Monkey Ball Step and Roll for that matter. So, I figure I might just well not do that, just because it might be a bit awkward just to control itself from the marble, and especially just navigating through the maze. So for my recommendation from doing this playthrough anyways, is to tackle through normal mode. But first though, we have ourselves a cutscene here. Exclamation mark. Oh, sure glad you saw me before I stepped on. My name is Anthony. Actually, there's something us ants needs to help with. Or need your help with. Okay, so you're telling a story, right? We'll come here looking for a seed from the legendary golden sunflower. They say the seed from the golden sunflower is hidden deep within the Storm Temple. But the Storm Temple was built 1,000 years ago, and the path leading there has already been destroyed. Jeez. Agent Ant's script, unscribbled on the door, says to get to the golden sunflower seed, we have to gather parts from around the world from the Stomp Temple. I see how this goes. But us tiny ants can't do that on their own. So please, could you lend us a hand in getting a hold of the golden sunflower seed? And you can actually select either yes or no if you're actually trying to do that. Oh, thank you. I had a feeling you'll say that, because why not? I'd like to help you. First things first, let's get you to the practice some of these stages. Let's just say I might actually go ahead and skip that, just because, well, first of all, I played this game a couple of times. And plus, not to mention, I think I already know about that. Find hidden core and capsules with Storm Temple parts and secret items in them. So, yeah, these are the new items in this game introduced. These are core capsules. So, there's nothing else you can do in Anthony's house at the moment. Here's the options menu if you want to go in there, or you can go into the main world map itself, which if you actually click onto the dandelions right over there. So, yeah, so let's get into the world map. And yes, the game does support auto-saving, so good thing you don't have to actually yeah. So right off the bat, we're actually going to enter the first world in the game, which was the empty lot. Now, this planet right here, you can actually maneuver around it. It does remind me of related to Sonic Unleashed, when you're actually trying to maneuver the Earth, and then go to the next destination to another. It does remind me of that. So, anyways, let's go into the first world, the empty lot. Your first adventure starts in an empty lot full of junk. Let's see how this goes. So, right off the bat, much like the first game, is that you actually start off with 5 levels. And some of the 5 levels are currently locked at the moment because we haven't access to these levels yet. So yeah, let's get this started with on the first level in the game, which was the empty lot number 1. So yes, we'll be tackling through, and yes, you do have a selection of marbles you can actually collect from. And you actually get started off with the marble, the ladybug, and the cat. I believe it also the same likes of the first game as well. So kind of think of it, it's basically the same. So I think there are a grand total of like, let's say about 20 marbles in this game, so I kind of well expected that. So much like the first game, I'll be actually using the marble for the whole majority of this game playthrough, just because I feel like this is the easiest marble to control with. So anyways, here we go, on to the first level of the game, and it appears to be quite simple really, from the looks of it, so let's get started. So, oh yeah, I need to turn off the level gauge, so that I will just do this by myself. So, this is how the gameplay was for Marbles Balance Challenge. It's very similar to the first game. And then, the only difference is that, even though it's quite similar, but except the control wasn't as fidgety as last time, because now, it does have the ability to actually become much more steady now. So, thanks to the improvement control, even though it might be a bit stiff in some areas, because sometimes there are occasional moments where if you're trying to tilt the Wiimote too far, sometimes it'll just actually acting out quite a bit more finicky at times. But much like the first game, if you collect all of the orange crystals, then that's how you essentially reach to the end of the level, as you can see. And also you can actually collect those the parts of the Stomp Temple, in this case the Coronal's capsule things. Now, I decided to go ahead and say this right now, that I will actually be tackle everything of this game, like, well, not all of the difficulties, mind you, because there was easy mode, which is essentially no green crystal option, so that's why I'm essentially going to be tackling through the normal mode, just because normal mode is the definitive mode you can actually play on, because it has some more challenge to it, and plus I think I seem to actually know that I'm actually going to be collecting everything of this game has to offer, like all the collectibles such as the green crystals I'll be getting on, as well as them parts of the Stomp Temple, and then everything's all good to go here, except for trophies, because trophies makes a return in this game, so Just like the ones in the first game, if you beat a certain amount of time in a level, and that's how you essentially, what based on trophies you get, like the bronze trophy, the silver trophy, and the gold trophy. So the gold trophy will have to be the highest. And as you can see, we have ourselves a different type of gimmick this time around. We actually, if you're trying to stand onto this little specific tile, you can actually stand on here for too long, and then basically you actually get yourselves a little elevator. Oh shoot, I missed one of the collectibles. God darn it. Oh well, I'll come back for that later. So yeah. And as you can see, when we actually finish these 3 levels in one world, now there is actually ability to actually unlock the some more levels from the get-go this time around, as opposed to when you actually complete 5 levels in each world. So yeah, luckily though, there's more of an earlier progression throughout. So yeah. In fact, every single aspect of this game is basically just core rip-up, except with new type of gimmicks we'll be about to be hitting to later on. Now, this game was also known as Marble Saga Core Ripper in North America, and then in Japan, this game was actually called Core Ripper 2, just because that this game was very similar to the first game, because of, you know, the same gameplay elements, but with all these same gimmicks combined, that also means that they might actually bring up some new mechanics to it when we get into the later worlds, which again we'll get into in the later parts of the game. So, yeah. Alright, the empty lot number 5. So, in this one, we had to actually maneuver the marble onto those curves. Yeah, much like the first game, you have to traverse your Wii remote until you actually get into your gravity type of motions. So just in case, if you actually don't let your guard down just yet, because otherwise you might end up lose up in those stages. So as you can see right there, we actually walk into the invisible pathways now, and just because of the this little shiny effect, if it shines, that means is that it will actually shine up the platforms. So that meaning that if you're actually trying to discover hidden something new, then if you actually walk across the silver invisible pathway, then that's how you discover your secret throughout. So keep that in mind though, in some of these levels might actually contain one of those. So that's just how it is. Alright, the empty lot 6. So I believe these types of levels doesn't have their individual names anymore. Instead I think we actually got these number coded levels. But that I digress though. Alright, so darn it, I got crushed. But yeah, much like the first game though, is that there are several ways to actually get died on. Like for instance, I actually got crushed at the this particular section because, as you can see, I'm trying to actually get to the green crystal, but I don't know how do I supposed to get it. But again, it's been quite a few, it has been a long time since I actually played this game. Last time I did play this game was actually when I first done this playthrough back in 2013, but again, since that playthrough is now removed, so that means there is no way I will able to actually just to get the... Darn it! And yeah, there's another way you could die right there, get crushed into certain points throughout, so because of this little steady controls, it might be it can be a bit of a tricky sometimes, but honestly I found this game to be a lot easier than the original Core Ripper was, because thanks to the improvement control, then I can basically guarantee that I can be perfectly more precise than her. Aside from when there's some speedrunners out there who seems to have actually done this playthrough quite a few times. Oh yeah, as you can see on this little message notification, that I've actually unlocked a challenge stage. Because basically, once you complete these 6 stages in each world, that basically I managed to actually... Are you kidding me? Anyway, so yeah, you can actually get yourself in an extra stage, meaning that a challenge stage. Basically, that if you actually come across into that level, I'll explain to that when we actually get into that. So for now, let's just maneuver the elevator sequence. And yeah, sure enough, there's the invisible path, so that leads us to the green crystal. Yes, much like the original game, some green crystals can be easy to grab, and the others seems to be quite tough to get. which we're about to be hit into just in a minute. So, yeah. And I'm assuming I actually missed out. Oh, we got our first trophy in the game, which appears to be a bronze trophy. And of course, I missed the part of the Stomp Temple, which I'll grab at the end of this video. In fact, speaking of the videos itself, that once I miss something, whenever I get to the point where I sort of miss these collectibles from, I can basically jump cut the part at the very end of the video or each episode, just because I just feel like doing that. Because rather than just actually kept on retrying the level again on the recording section, then I might actually save those at the end of the video. So I'll just keep that in mind. So for now, let's go into I think that this is the empty lots number 6. Oh no, not number 6, number 8. And yes, every time when you actually go into the different level, the music starts to alteration a bit. So yeah, just to keep that in mind. So yeah. And the coolest part is that the cannon makes a return, and then you remember how in the original game that when you hop into the cannon just pops up itself. But in this game you have an option to actually adjust your aiming of your cannon. So that just in case if you want to actually land on the specific platform in order to actually get onto one platform to the next. So that's pretty cool. I do like they actually added up this edition. Alright, so the empty lot's 9, so we're practically almost done here, and the main gimmick of that level is to go through these rails. So yeah, basically that's why we're suggestions with that. So yeah. So yeah, there's not much else I could talk about for this game in general, besides these new gimmicks and such that are actually introduced in this title, as opposed to the first game that, oh darn it, I somehow didn't get there in time. But yeah, much like the first game, there are some emphasis on trial and error involved in this, like some bit of a control, like you have to be more precise from that, and some occasional hazards that are really trying to mess you up. But apart from those, what I kept on doing that again, I'm such a bummer. Anyway, so yeah, and you guys probably know my voice already because you know I'm Duffy, so you guys should know me. Because I'm always in every single future videos at this point. Like I'm still doing Super Mario Galaxy 2, and as well as Banjo-Kazooie, where me and Twilight Sparkle are doing right now, and as well as, well, I'm pretty sure that's about it. So yeah, that's all I could say about this right here. It's just, it has like, I've been in every single videos since the previous parts of Super Mario Galaxy 2 so far, or even Banjo-Kazooie for that matter. So anyway, alright, on to level 10, the empty lot, and for this one, it appears to be we have to tilt the platform, or tilt the Wiimote itself, until we actually tilt the platform into one end, or to another point of the level to another. So basically that's what the gimmick of this is. But we know it's very standard really, so the empty lot seems just pretty easy though. It's basically the tutorial world in this game basically. And then when we get into the later levels, the game can get really tough later on, so because you know, just like the first game, that you know, some emphasis on trial and error was going to be continuum. But apart from that, it's pretty simple really. Alright, so now we get into the 11th stage, because yes, in every time when you're trying to complete 6 stages in each world where we're about to be hit into, that you actually get yourselves an 11th extra stage. So I will definitely tackle every single levels of this game, because I feel like doing that, because well, for one, that it's pretty easy to get these levels and the ones in the first game, and two, that I might as well do these levels flawlessly. So here we go. Extra stage, the extra stage in the empty lots, level number 11. So not only do we have the cannons from the previous level we've been to, but also we bring back some checkpoints. Yes, checkpoints are now there from the get-go from the start this time around, as opposed to the first game that you have to wait into these other levels until you actually get yourself some checkpoints. Which tend to bother me though at first glance, but thanks to the sequel, it did fixes the issue that it actually has some checkpoints from the get-go this time around. So, yeah, everything else it checks out there. Right, so let's aim this. Ah, didn't make it. Well, luckily that gets some recovery. Alright, so hop in, and there we go. And that concludes the empty lot, and I actually got ourselves a silver trophy. Well, if I did miss the that part. And as you can see, we've actually unlocked the extra world, which appears to be Candy Island. So, as for the extra worlds department, I'll save that in the once we finish the some of these levels throughout, and we actually discovered the new area, Neighbor's House. So we're gonna have to, and yeah, the Candy Island right there. So I'm gonna have to finish this video here. So next time on Let's Play Marbles Balance Challenge is that we're about to be exploring World 2, Neighbor's House. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas. Alright, so the first part of the Storm Temple I missed out is that I completely ignore it. So yeah, that's how I got it here. That was on level 3, I'm guessing that was just gonna happen. So I'll be right back for the next one. Alright, and now for the final Storm Temple piece, which I seem to completely ignore it, just like the ones in the 3rd level, and then that was on the elevator sequence, is by going to the right. So that's how you essentially get all of the Storm Temple pieces, so yeah. Anyway, see you guys next time for the next part, where we get into the neighbor's house. So yeah, that's all I have to say.